The starship Defiance floated silently at the edge of our solar system. For 300 years, humans had not been allowed to leave their home planets. The powerful aliens who called themselves the Galactic Conclave had put up invisible walls around Earth's solar system. They said humans were evolutionarily unstable, too unpredictable, and changing too quickly. Commander Una Park stood on the bridge of the Defiance, looking at the stars beyond the barrier. She was 42 years old, with short black hair and eyes that had seen too much war. 20 years ago, she had watched Conclave ships destroy the first human vessels that tried to break free. Her parents had been on one of those ships. "Are the engines ready?" she asked her second-in-command, Doyan. "Yes, Commander. The quantum fold drives are at full power," he replied, his fingers moving across the control panel. "We can jump whenever you give the order." The quantum fold technology was humanity's greatest secret. For 50 years, Earth's best scientists had worked underground, hidden from the Conclave's watching eyes. They studied the pieces of alien ships that had crashed on Mars. Bit by bit, they learned how to bend space itself, to fold it like paper and slit through the cracks. The Defiance was built in secret too. Deep in the asteroid belt, miners hollowed out the center of a giant rock. Inside this hiding place, engineers put together Earth's first true warship. It was 5 kilometers long, with weapons that could melt mountains and shields that could withstand the heat of a sun. "It's time to address the crew," Park said. She pressed a button on her chair, and her voice carried to every corner of the massive ship. "Men and women of the Defiance," she began. "Today we do what no human has done in 3 centuries. We break free. The aliens who keep us prisoners say we're dangerous, that we develop too quickly. They fear what we might become." She paused, looking at the faces of her bridge crew. Each person on this ship had been carefully chosen. Some were brilliant scientists. Others were skilled fighters. All of them believed humans deserve to travel among the stars. "I won't lie to you," Park continued. "Once we cross the boundary, every alien ship in this part of the galaxy will hunt us. But the Defiance has teeth they don't expect. We carry weapons they don't know we have. Most importantly, we carry the human spirit, something they've never understood." Down in the engine room, Chief Engineer Minho checked the quantum fold drives one last time. These engines were his life's work. They didn't just move the ship through space. They folded reality itself. The aliens had similar technology, but Minho had improved it. Where their ships needed hours to prepare a jump, the Defiance could do it in minutes. "Engines are green across the board," he reported to the bridge. "We can make 5 jumps before needing to recharge." In the weapons control room, Weapons Officer Ju ran final checks on the ship's defense systems. The Defiance carried special shields based on crashed alien technology. But the humans had added something new. The shields could absorb energy attacks and redirect them back at the enemy. "Weapons and shields at 100%, Ju reported. Commander Park nodded. Everything was ready. 300 crew members waited for her order. Each had left behind family and friends, knowing they might never see Earth again. If they failed, the Conclave might punish humanity even more harshly. But if they succeeded, they would open the stars to all humans. "Show me the boundary," Park ordered. On the main screen, a glowing line appeared. To normalize, the boundary was invisible, but the Defiance's sensors could detect the energy field that trapped humanity in their solar system. For 3 centuries, that line had been humanity's prison wall. "Computer, show all Conclave monitoring stations," Park said. Red dots appeared on the screen. 7 alien watchtowers guarded the solar system. They were placed to catch any human ship trying to escape, but they had blind spots, tiny gaps where their sensors overlapped imperfectly. "We'll jump through here," Park said, pointing to one such gap. "Their sensors will detect us for only 2 seconds before we're gone." The bridge grew quiet. Everyone knew what was at stake. Not just their lives, but possibly the future of humanity. Park thought about the ancient alien ship they had found buried on Mars 20 years ago. Inside were technologies humans had only dreamed of, and historical records that told a different story than the Conclave's lies. Humans weren't quarantined for being dangerous. They were quarantined because they were special, because they could do things the Conclave feared. "Begin the countdown," Park ordered. 10 minutes to jump. The ship hummed as power flowed into the quantum fold engines. On the lower decks, crew members secured equipment and prepared for the jump. Some said quiet prayers. Others sent last messages to loved ones on Earth. Park touched the small photograph she kept in her pocket. Her parents on their wedding day. "This is for you," she whispered. 2 minutes to jump, announced the computer. Park took her seat in the command chair. All hands, prepare for quantum fold. The ship's lights dimmed as power redirected to the engines. The hull creaked as space began to bend around it. 10 seconds, said Do-Yun. 9, 8. Park gripped the arms of her chair. Beyond that glowing line lay either freedom or death. 3, 2, 1. Jump, Park commanded. The stars outside the viewports stretched like rubber bands. The Defiance slipped through a tear in space itself. For a heartbeat, alarms blared as they passed through the boundary. Then silence. When the viewports cleared, new stars surrounded them. Stars no human had seen for 300 years. "We've done it," whispered Do-Yun. "We're outside the quarantine zone." Park allowed herself a small smile. "Send the message to Earth. Tell them the cage door is open." But her victory was short-lived. Almost immediately, alert signals flashed on the bridge. "Commander," called out the sensor officer. "I'm detecting multiple Conclave vessels changing course. They've spotted us." Park's smile faded. "And so it begins. Prepare for our second jump. The real journey starts now." The alarm screamed through monitoring station 12 in the Sagittarius Gap. Senior observer Krell nearly knocked over his drink as his 6 eyes blinked rapidly at the scanner readings. A ship had appeared out of nowhere deep inside forbidden space, but not just any ship. A human ship. "Impossible," he muttered, his scaled fingers flying across the control panel. The readings couldn't be right. Humans were locked away in their little solar system, barely able to reach their own moon. They certainly couldn't quantum jump into the heart of the Sagittarius Gap, the private territory of the 7 elder species. But the scanner didn't lie. The energy signature matched human technology, yet it moved faster than any human vessel should. Krell's hand trembled as he pressed the emergency alert button. On the Conclave's central world, High Arbiter Tahoe Kim was enjoying a meal when the alert reached him. Unlike most of the elders who looked alien to human eyes, Kim appeared almost human himself. The Conclave had chosen him as High Arbiter precisely because his species resembled humans. They thought it would help keep Earth calm during the quarantine. Kim set down his eating utensils and read the alert twice. A human warship had not only breached the quarantine but jumped directly into protected space. In 300 years, this had never happened. "Call an emergency session," he ordered his assistants. "Now." Within an hour, holographic representatives from all 7 elder species gathered in the circular chamber. Most appeared as glowing forms of light, their true appearances hidden behind masks of energy. "Esteemed members of the Conclave," Kim began, his voice steady despite his worry. "The impossible has happened. A human vessel has entered the Sagittarius Gap." Angry murmurs filled the chamber. "How did they breach the quarantine?" demanded the representative of the Vosh Collective, their hologram flickering with agitation. More importantly, asked the Zentari delegate, how did they develop quantum fold technology? They shouldn't be capable of such advancements for at least another century. Kim displayed the scans of the human vessel on the central hologram. The ship calls itself the Defiance. It's unlike any human vessel we've observed before. Its size and energy readings suggest it's a warship. "This is why the quarantine was established," hissed the Mokol representative. "Humans develop too quickly, too unpredictably. They must be contained." "I've already dispatched interceptor squadrons," Kim informed them. "They will capture or destroy this vessel before An aide rushed in and whispered urgently in Kim's ear. The High Arbiter's face paled. "What is it?" demanded the Zentari. "The interceptors. They cannot catch the human ship," Kim admitted. "It's outrunning our fastest vessels." Commander Unipark watched the alien interceptors on the Defiance's main screen. The ships were beautiful, sleek, silver crafts that moved like living things through space. And they were falling behind. "They didn't expect us to be this fast," she said with a small smile. "Status report." "Engines operating at 87% efficiency," reported Doyun from his station. "We're faster than anything they've sent after us. The quantum core is holding stable." Lieutenant Juwu at the weapons console looked up. "Commander, they're charging weapons." Park nodded calmly. "Just as we expected." "Activate absorption shields." The Defiance's shields shimmered as they changed configuration. This was the moment of truth. The technology they'd reverse-engineered from the crashed alien ship had never been tested against actual Conclave weapons. The alien interceptors fired. Beams of bright blue energy streaked across space toward the Defiance. When they hit the shields, something remarkable happened. Instead of exploding against them, the energy seemed to flow into the shields, making them glow brighter. "Shields absorbing 93% of energy," called out Juwu, excitement in her voice. "Power levels rising. We can redirect this back at them, or channel it to our engines." Park smiled wider now. "Channel it to engines. Let's show them what we can really do." The Defiance surged forward, now moving even faster than before. Behind them, the interceptor pilots must be shocked. No primitive race should have technology that could turn attacks into fuel. "More ships approaching," warned the sensor officer. "Larger class. Destroyer type." Park nodded. "Time for the next surprise. Open a communication channel. Use Protocol 7. The communications officer looked startled. "Protocol 7. That's the sealed diplomatic language of the Conclave." Park finished for him. "Yes. Open the channel." High Arbiter Kim was staring in disbelief at the latest reports when a communication request came through. It was encoded in the highest form of the Conclave's diplomatic language, a language so complex and protected that only the 7 elder species knew it. Yet here was a human ship, using it perfectly. "Accept the transmission," he ordered. The image of Commander Unipark appeared on his screen. She sat calmly in her command chair, looking directly at him as if they were meeting in person rather than across the vastness of space. "High Arbiter Tahoe Kim," she said in flawless Conclave diplomatic speech, "I am Commander Unipark of the Earth vessel Defiance. We bring greetings from a people who have been unjustly imprisoned for 3 centuries. Kim struggled to keep his composure. How do you know our language? How do you know who I am?" Park smiled slightly. "There is much about humans who have chosen not to understand, High Arbiter. We learn. We adapt. We remember. And we have excellent spies." "Your vessel violates all Conclave laws," Kim replied. "Return to your system immediately, or we will be forced to destroy you." "Your weapons cannot harm us," Park said simply. "And we will not return to our cage. The Defiance has a destination, and we will reach it." "What destination?" Kim demanded. "The ancient wormhole nexus at Cygnus X1, Park answered. Kim felt his blood freeze. The nexus was the gateway to the entire galaxy. Thousands of wormhole paths connecting all major systems. If humans gained access to it, "You must be stopped," he whispered. "You are welcome to try," Park replied before ending the transmission. Back on the Defiance, Park leaned back in her chair. The encounter had gone exactly as planned. The Conclave would now commit all its resources to stopping them from reaching Cygnus X1. They would be desperate, and desperate enemies made mistakes. "Set course for the Horsehead Nebula," she ordered. "We'll use the dust clouds for cover before making our final approach to the Nexus." "The Conclave ships are growing in number," warned Doyun. "At least 30 vessels now in pursuit." "Let them come," Park said. She touched the small control panel on her chair arm, bringing up the hidden compartment. Inside was an ancient data crystal, recovered from the Mars ship. It contained the full truth about why humans have been quarantined. Not because they were dangerous, but because they were different in a way that frightened the Conclave. "We have 3 days until we reach the Nexus," she told her crew. 3 days to change the future of humanity forever. As the Defiance raced toward the Horsehead Nebula, its quantum engines leaving a trail of distorted space behind it, Park watched the stars streak by. For centuries, humans had looked up at those stars and dreamed. Now they were finally taking their place among them, whether the Conclave approved or not. The Defiance raced through the glittering darkness of deep space. For 5 days, they had evaded the Conclave's fastest ships. But now something new appeared on their scanners, something terrifying. "Commander Park, you need to see this," said Lieutenant Juwu, her voice shaking slightly. Park moved quickly to the sensor station. The screen showed 3 massive objects moving toward them. Each one was roughly the size of Earth's moon. "Are those planets?" asked Do-Yun in disbelief. "No," Park said quietly. "Those are ships. The suppression fleet." A heavy silence fell over the bridge. Everyone had heard the stories, but most thought they were just myths meant to scare young pilots. The suppression fleet was the Conclave's ultimate weapon, used only twice in the last 10,000 years. Planet-sized vessels with the power to crush entire civilizations. "They're bringing out their biggest guns for little old us," Park said with a grim smile. "I'm almost flattered." But despite her calm words, Park felt a chill run down her spine. The Defiance was the most advanced ship humanity had ever built, but it was like a rowboat compared to those massive vessels. "All crew to battle stations," she ordered. "It's time to show them what we can really do." Park walked to a small panel hidden in her command chair. She placed her palm on it, and a scanner read her handprint and DNA. "Voice authorization required," said the computer. "Commander Yuna Park. Authorization phrase. Remember the starry midnight." The panel slid open, revealing a crystal key. Park removed it and inserted it into a slot on her command console that had never been used before. The bridge lights dimmed for a moment, then came back brighter than before. A new voice, warm and feminine, spoke from the ship's speakers. "Full systems integration complete." "Hello, Commander Park." "Crew of the Defiance," Park announced. "Meet Athena, the true heart of our ship." Do-Yun looked confused. "An AI? I didn't know we had." "Very few people knew," Park explained. "Athena isn't just any artificial intelligence. She contains the digitized strategic knowledge of Earth's greatest military minds from all of history. Sun Tzu, Napoleon, Admiral Yi, Patton, and 100 others. Their wisdom, their intuition, their genius, all combined in one system." The planet-sized vessels were growing larger on their screens. They were still hours away, but moving fast. "Athena," Park asked, "what are our chances against the suppression fleet?" "If we engage them directly, 0%, Athena replied calmly. "But direct engagement is not recommended. These vessels have weaknesses we can exploit." "Weaknesses? Those things are the size of moons," exclaimed Juwu. "Size is both their strength and their weakness," Athena explained. "Their power comes from their mass, but this makes them slow to change direction. Additionally, they were built in an era when ships attacked in predictable patterns. They are not designed to counter an opponent who acts irrationally by their standards." Park smiled. "And humans are nothing if not irrational. What do you suggest, Athena?" "The Horsehead Nebula is 20 minutes away at maximum speed. Its dust clouds will partially blind their sensors. I recommend we use it to execute Protocol Prometheus." The senior officers exchanged glances. Protocol Prometheus was their last resort, something they had trained for but hoped never to use. "Let's do it," Park decided. "Set course for the nebula, maximum speed." The Defiance shot forward, pushing its engines harder than ever before. Behind them, The three massive vessels of the suppression fleet adjusted their course to follow. On the bridge of the flagship of the suppression fleet, High Commander Econ watched the tiny human vessel flee toward the nebula. "Pathetic," he said. His species had ruled the stars when humans were still swinging in trees. "They think dust clouds will save them." "High Commander," reported his second, "the human vessel is transmitting a message. It's a series of Earth military songs." Econ tilted his massive head. "They sing as they die. Strange creatures." Little did he know that the songs, the Navy hymn, the battle hymn of the Republic, and others, were the final activation codes for Protocol Prometheus. Inside the swirling dust of the nebula, Commander Park stood at the center of the bridge. Her officers watched her with a mixture of fear and determination. "All sections report ready for Protocol Prometheus," said Doyan. Park nodded. "Athena, begin the separation sequence." Separation sequence initiated. The AI responded. "All crew should secure themselves immediately." A deep rumbling vibrated through the entire ship. It started softly but grew until it seemed the Defiance might shake itself apart. "Structural integrity at 90% and holding," reported the engineering officer. "Primary separation points are clear." Park took her seat and gripped the armrests tightly. "Crew of the Defiance, this is the moment we've trained for. Remember your assignments. Remember Earth." With a series of thunderous clangs, the Defiance began to change shape. Massive sections of the hull pulled away from each other. What had been one large ship was splitting apart, not breaking, but separating in a carefully designed pattern. "Separation complete," announced Athena. "All 7 vessels report systems functional." Where there had been one ship, there were now 7 smaller ones, arranged in a perfect formation. Each was still heavily armed, each still deadly, and each still carried a portion of Athena's consciousness. Park now commanded the center vessel. "All ships, report in." One by one, the captains of the other 6 ships confirmed they were operational. These officers had been selected and trained for this exact moment. "Freedom Actual, ready," reported Captain Junot from the first ship. "Liberty Actual, ready," came the voice of Captain Minji from the second. Each ship reported in turn. Courage, justice, honor, and victory, all ready for battle. "The suppression fleet is entering the nebula," warned Athena. "They are separating to surround us." Park smiled. "Perfect. Exactly as you predicted." The 3 planet-sized vessels were spreading out, trying to trap the Defiance between them. But now, instead of one target, they faced 7. "All ships," ordered Park, "execute attack pattern Delta." The 7 human vessels shot off in different directions. The massive suppression fleet ships tried to track them, but the smaller craft were too quick, too nimble. They darted between the giant vessels like flies around elephants. "Target their sensor arrays and engine vents," Park commanded. "Hit and run. Don't stay still long enough for them to lock on." On his flagship, High Commander Econ was shouting in fury. "How is this possible? One ship became 7. This defies all known human capabilities." His tactical officer looked equally confused. "Sir, these smaller vessels are targeting our weak points with precision. They know exactly where to hit us." "Impossible," Econ roared. "No species has ever split a ship this way before. Ships are built as single units for structural integrity. It's a basic law of starship design." But the humans had broken that law. The 7 ships of what had been the Defiance continued their assault, striking with perfect coordination. They were like a pack of wolves bringing down much larger prey through teamwork and speed. As his ship shuddered from another precision strike, Econ realized a terrifying truth. For 300 years, the Conclave had been containing a species far more dangerous than they had imagined. And now, that species was loose among the stars. The battle against the suppression fleet had been costly. 3 of the 7 human ships were badly damaged. But they had achieved something no one thought possible. They had disabled one of the massive elder vessels. Lieutenant Jinwoo Lee stood in the damaged hangar of the crippled alien ship. He was 32 years old, with sharp eyes that missed nothing. Before joining the Defiance mission, he had been Earth's top code breaker. Now, surrounded by the strange technology of the Elders, he faced his greatest challenge. "We don't have much time," said Captain Minji over his radio. "Their distress signals will bring more ships soon." Lee nodded, though she couldn't see him. "I'm heading for their central computer now. Athena says it should be down this corridor." He moved carefully through the alien vessel. The inside was nothing like human ships. The walls seemed almost alive, with patterns of light flowing through them like blood through veins. The air smelled like cinnamon and metal. After 10 minutes of searching, Lee found what he was looking for: a large circular room filled with glowing crystal columns. This was the ship's data center. "I've reached the archive room," he reported, beginning the data extraction. Lee connected a small device to one of the crystal columns. This special tool contained a portion of Athena's programming, designed to break into the Conclave's protected files. Athena had been created not just for battle strategy, but also for this moment, to finally learn the truth about why humanity had been imprisoned in their own solar system. The device hummed as it worked. Alien symbols flashed across its small screen, too fast for human eyes to follow. Then it beeped 3 times. "I'm in," Lee whispered. He began searching through the files. Most were in languages he couldn't read, but Athena translated the important parts. Lee moved deeper and deeper into the archive, looking for anything about Earth or humans. Then he found it, a file called Containment Protocol, Sol System. "This is it," he said as he downloaded the file. But he couldn't wait until later to read it. He needed to know now. As the download continued, he began to read the translated text on his screen. What he found made his blood run cold. Commander Park was directing repairs on her ship when Lee returned. His face was pale, and his hand shook slightly as he handed her the data device. "Commander, you need to see this immediately," he said. They went to the small conference room just off the bridge. Park, Lee, and Do-Yun sat around the table as Athena projected the translated Conclave files onto the wall. "The quarantine was never about protecting the galaxy from us," Lee explained. "It was about protecting the Elders from us." The first document showed detailed studies of human DNA. The Elders had been studying humans for thousands of years, long before humans even knew aliens existed. According to these files, Lee continued, the Elders control most species in the galaxy through a form of psychic influence. They can't directly control minds, but they can push thoughts and emotions in certain directions. They've used this ability to maintain their power for over 50,000 years. But humans are immune, Park realized, reading ahead in the document. Exactly. Something in our brain chemistry blocks their influence completely. We're the only known species that can't be controlled this way. The next document was even more revealing. It showed studies of human problem-solving and creativity compared to other species. The Elders think in fixed patterns, Lee explained. All Elder species do. They're methodical, logical, and very smart, but they struggle with creative leaps. They can improve existing technology, but rarely invent something truly new. "And humans?" asked Do-Yun. "We're the opposite. We make intuitive jumps they can't understand. We connect ideas in ways that seem random to them. The Elders were tracking human development and became alarmed when we started advancing too quickly. They predicted we would develop faster than light travel within a century. So they locked us up," Park said quietly. "Yes, but there's more." Lee pulled up another file. "The Conclave doesn't just rule the galaxy. They deliberately keep other species from advancing too far. They've been doing this for millennia. When a species becomes too advanced, the Elders either quarantine them like us or what?" Do-Yun asked. "Or they eliminate them completely." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. The Elders weren't benevolent protectors. They were controlling tyrants who maintained their power by keeping other species down. "We need to tell everyone," Park said, standing up suddenly. "Not just Earth. but every species in the galaxy. The Conclave has been lying to all of them. 2 days later, the Defiance and its 3 remaining sister ships approached the ancient wormhole Nexus at Cygnus X1. The Nexus was a wonder of the galaxy, a massive structure built around a black hole, using its gravity to create stable wormholes to thousands of star systems. Park stood on the bridge, looking at the magnificent structure growing larger on their view screens. Hundreds of ships from various species moved around it like bees around a hive. None of them were human, until now. "We've come this far," Park said to her crew. "Now we deliver the truth. Open all communication channels. Broadcast on every frequency a Conclave uses." "What about the Conclave ships pursuing us?" asked Juwu. "They'll be here soon," Park acknowledged. "But this message can't wait." The communications officer nodded. "All channels open, Commander," broadcasting across the entire network. Park took a deep breath and began to speak. Her face and voice would reach ships and planets throughout the galaxy. "To all beings who hear this message, I am Commander Unipark of Earth. For 3 centuries, the Conclave has kept humanity prisoner in our own solar system. They told you we were dangerous, unstable, a threat to galactic peace. But we have discovered the truth." She explained everything they had learned. How the elders used psychic influence to control other species, how they feared humans because we were immune to their control, how they deliberately prevented technological advancement. "The Conclave doesn't protect the galaxy," she continued. "They control it. They keep you dependent on them. They stop you from growing, from reaching your potential. Humans aren't the only victims. Every species that isn't one of the 7 elders is being held back." As she spoke, Athena was transmitting the proof. The actual Conclave documents they had stolen. Evidence that couldn't be denied. "We don't ask you to fight for us," Park concluded. "We only ask that you question what you've been told. Look at the evidence. Decide for yourselves if the elders deserve to rule." Minutes after the broadcast ended, reports began coming in from across the galaxy. On dozens of worlds, the lesser species were rising up, demanding answers from the Conclave representatives. Ships from non-elder species were breaking formation, refusing orders. "It's working," Do-Yun said with amazement. "They're listening." But their victory was short-lived. A massive Conclave warship emerged from a wormhole directly in front of them. On the main screen, the face of High Arbiter Tahoe Kim appeared. He looked furious. "You have gone too far, human," he snarled. "Your lies spread chaos through the galaxy. Know this, we have activated the Void Lance. It is aimed at your son. Unless you surrender immediately and retract your false claims, we will destroy your entire solar system." Park felt ice in her veins. The Void Lance was no myth. It was the Conclave's ultimate weapon, capable of making stars go supernova. Earth, Mars, all of humanity's worlds would be destroyed. "You would kill billions of innocent people?" she asked. "To maintain order," Kim replied coldly. "Yes, you have 1 hour to surrender." Commander Unipark stared at the face of High Arbiter Tahoe Kim on the screen. His ultimatum hung in the air: surrender or watch Earth's sun die. Behind her, the bridge crew of the Defiance waited in tense silence. Their journey had brought them to this moment, facing the Void Lance, the most terrible weapon in the galaxy. "You have 58 minutes remaining," Kim said coldly. Park smiled. It was not a happy smile, but the smile of someone who still had 1 card left to play. "Before I respond to your threat," she said calmly, "I'd like to introduce you to some people." Park nodded to her communications officer. The screen split into 18 sections. Kim's face remained in one corner, looking confused. The other 17 sections showed different humans, men and women in captains' uniforms, each sitting on the bridge of a ship. "What is this?" demanded Kim. "These are the captains of 17 human vessels," Park explained. "Ships that left Earth long before the Defiance. While we captured your attention with our dramatic escape, these ships quietly slipped through your quarantine in different directions. Kim's face showed disbelief. Impossible. We would have detected. You were looking for ships trying to escape, Park interrupted. You weren't watching for small stealth vessels designed to look like space debris. Each of these ships carried something special. One by one, the 17 captains introduced themselves. Last was Captain Hyun Choi, a tall man with calm eyes and a steady voice. High Arbiter, Choi said, my ship is currently orbiting your homeworld of Tasu Prime. 17 minutes ago, we deployed a device to your planet's core. The other 16 ships have done the same to each of the other Elder homeworlds. The blood drained from Kim's face. You're bluffing. Send your scanners to these coordinates, Choi replied, transmitting a series of numbers. The bridge of Kim's ship erupted in frantic activity as officers checked the coordinates. After a moment, one of them whispered something to Kim. The High Arbiter's eyes widened in shock. What have you done? He whispered. Nothing yet, Park answered. But each of those devices can create a controlled quantum singularity. In simple terms, they can turn a planet's core into a small black hole. If activated, they would destroy each Elder homeworld from the inside out. Kim shook his head in disbelief. This is madness. You would destroy our worlds even as we destroy yours. This is suicide. No, Park said firmly. This is negotiation. You threaten billions of innocent humans. We are simply ensuring that the cost of such an action is too high for you to pay. But your species would still die. Kim shouted, losing his composure entirely. Even if you destroy all 7 Elder homeworlds, your son would still be destroyed. Park leaned forward in her chair. Then we would both lose everything. But here's the difference between us, High Arbiter. Humans understand that some things are worth dying for. Freedom is one of them. We would rather die free than live as prisoners. The concept seemed to genuinely confuse Kim and the other Elders. In their 50,000 years of rule, they had encountered many species, but none that would choose extinction over submission. This is why you feared us. Park continued more softly. Not because we're dangerous, but because we think differently than you. We evolved through struggle and cooperation, not dominance and control. We see possibilities where you see only threats. For several long minutes, Kim said nothing. He appeared to be communicating with others off-screen. Finally, he turned back to face Park. What do you want? He asked simply. 3 things, Park replied. First, deactivate the Void Lance permanently. Second, end the quarantine around Earth immediately. Third, a new galactic compact that gives humans and all other species equal standing with the Elders. And if we agree to these terms, then Captain Choi and the others will remove their devices and return them to Earth. No Elder worlds will be harmed. Another long silence followed as the Elders deliberated. Park waited patiently. She knew that the Elders operated on consensus, and this decision would change 50,000 years of history. Finally, Kim spoke. We accept your terms. The Void Lance will be deactivated. The quarantine will be lifted. A new compact will be negotiated. Park nodded. Captain Choi, please confirm when your team begins retrieval. Confirmed, Commander, Choi replied. Retrieval operations beginning now. As the tension on the bridge began to ease, Park turned back to Kim. High Arbiter, I believe this is the beginning of a new era for the galaxy. Not one ruled by fear and dominance, but by cooperation and mutual respect. Kim looked troubled. You have forced our hand with threats, just as you threatened us for centuries, Park countered. The difference is that we're offering a path forward that benefits everyone. The Elders will still have their place, but as equals, not rulers. Within hours, news of the confrontation and its resolution spread throughout the galaxy. Ships from dozens of species approached the Defiance. Many had been inspired by Park's earlier broadcast revealing the truth about the Conclave. Now, with the Elders' power broken, these species sought humans as natural allies. 3 days later, Representatives from 27 species gathered on the neutral ground of the wormhole nexus to begin drafting the new galactic compact. Park sat among them, still wearing her commander's uniform. As the discussions proceeded, a representative of the Vosh, once loyal enforcers for the Elders, approached Park during a recess. "Your ships," the Vosh said hesitantly. "The 17 with the planet killers. They couldn't really create black holes, could they? Such technology is beyond even the Elders." Park smiled. "Would you like to find out?" The Vosh stepped back nervously. "No, of course not." After the Vosh left, Do-hyun joined Park. "They still don't understand, do they?" he said quietly. "No," Park agreed. "They don't understand that our greatest weapon wasn't the Defiance or those 17 ships. It was something the Elders could never match, our willingness to risk everything for a chance at freedom." As she looked out at the stars through the massive windows of the Nexus, Park thought about Earth. Soon, human ships would travel freely among those stars, not as conquerors like the Elders had been, but as explorers and friends to the many species now reaching out to them. Was it worth it? Do-hyun asked. All the risk, the lives lost. Park nodded slowly. For 300 years, we looked up at the stars from our prison. Now those stars are open to our children, and to their children after them. Yes, it was worth it. On the table before her lay the first draft of the new compact, beginning with words that would change the galaxy forever. All sentient species, regardless of origin, development, or ability, shall be considered equal under this compact. The end.